Go with me to Daniel chapter 3. Daniel chapter 3. I'm going to just read a couple verses, which verses are 28 through verses 30. And it says, Nebuchadnezzar spoke, saying, Blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who sent his angel and delivered his servants who trusted in him, and they have frustrated the king's word and yielded their bodies, and they should not serve, nor worship any god except their own God. Therefore, I make a decree that any people, nation, or language which speaks anything amiss against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego shall be cut into pieces, and their houses shall be made an ash heap, because there is no other God who can deliver like this. Then the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the province of Babylon. Again, today, our text on today, our subject matter is once again, it's getting hot in here. We have been in this text. This is our third installment in this message. It's getting hot in here, and we have talked in great detail about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, otherwise for us known as the three Hebrew boys. We know that from our upbringing, whether you are Baptist, Church of God in Christ, whether you are Protestant, whatever you may have been, you have known them to be the three Hebrew boys. But oftentimes we have brought together Daniel along with the three Hebrew boys. In this circumstance, we find that it is Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego who are isolated from Daniel. Daniel has been blessed. He has been favored by King Nebuchadnezzar. And Nebuchadnezzar has given him favor. He has esteemed him highly. He has raised him and elevated him. But as Daniel would be elevated, he would also petition the king to elevate his friends, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Aside from Daniel would be the temptation and the trial of these three friends, these three closely knitted friends who would eat together, sleep together, work together, pray together, and go through together. I'll stop right there because many of us really can't identify with this, because when we have a problem, those close to us don't associate with our problem. They can't identify with what we're going through. You know, the ones that say, I'm praying for you, the ones that say, I care for you. But at the same time, their lives continue to go on as if yours is not impacted. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego go through a great trial, a great testing in this, that they are going to take a stand. And I want you, as I'm talking, to place yourself right in the middle. Though I'm talking about them, I want you to put yourself right in the middle, where these three men would know who God is. They know what God has done. God's record is A100 with them. They have nothing negative to say about God, because every time they turned around, God was blessing them. But it's in this moment, in this hour, in front of the king, as he has elevated himself and made a decree, as he has created an image and said, those that would hear the music, that when you hear the song, when you hear the symphony, that you will fall down and worship this golden image that I have set up. You will worship the rules that I have made. You will worship the laws that I have made. You will worship the God that I have created. they themselves would hear it and at the same time reject it and embrace what God has purposed to do through them. Let me stop because I want to say this parenthetically that we don't see it. All of us in here are walking billboards. We find that when we become in the knowledge of Christ, that it is easy for us to gravitate toward, proclaiming how God has changed our lives, how he has done a marvelous work, and we want to do it audibly. We want to do it verbally. We want to dictate to those how amazing God really is. But I'm here this morning to let you know that there's a time in your life where God don't want you to say anything, that he wants you to demonstrate it in your walk. As we would say, talk is cheap. Yeah, and we have made that our talk is expensive, that you can take it to the bank. But the truth be told, when you talk and telling someone to take it to the bank, what you are saying is actually bouncing. You can't cash it. You can't change the currency to make it fit your life. Those of you who have gone through some great travesty in your own life, someone told you about what they've gone through and how they've navigated through something similar. And yet the outcomes weren't the same. And for those of us, I will just hit this point. Those of us who are married, we know some of us can put up with certain things, and we will testify how we've crossed over into being able to tolerate one another. Whereas someone else, as we're telling them how we did it, someone else is reluctant to deal with the same thing that you have and put up with the same mess, which says that all that currency doesn't equal the same. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego at this point have opened their hearts to receive whatever God is going to do, knowing that they have to stand firm on the promises of God. They stand firm by saying, regardless of what the king says, regardless of what he threatens to do, we refuse to submit our way to the king, that our way is submitted to God. It's at this point, they know what the outcome is. And the outcome is that they would succumb to the fiery furnace, as the Bible says, the burning fiery furnace. And we love to look at that and talk about how amazing God is in the fiery furnace, which is true. But I read this in studying, and God says that you all stop at me not doing any damage to them in the fire, but the truth is, it is the testimony after the fire. Because before the fire, even Nebuchadnezzar did not believe in the God that they were serving. He did not believe in the power and the authority and demonstration of their God. And they was not out witnessing. They didn't have any tracts. They didn't have any brochures. They wasn't on the street corner with a microphone trying to beat them over the head and tell them how good God is. But what they did was they walked the walk. All right, now. Many of us have gotten so used to talking that even now the world is so cynical about people who are expressing themselves that it's either you're going to put up or shut up. And I believe that we've come to a place in time as believers, as the saints of God, as Christians, where it is now time for you to put up and shut up. We've done a whole lot of talking and a whole lot less walking. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, based on the word of their close friend Daniel, received a promotion just on his word. This is in chapter 2. They received a promotion. Chapter 2, verse 49 says, also Daniel petitioned the king. This is after he's promoted. And he set Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego over the affairs of the province of Babylon. But Daniel sat in the gate of the king. They weren't together, but they had a promotion. But we would find that their promotion would be soon called a demotion. Because once they refused to placate or give in to Nebuchadnezzar, Nebuchadnezzar stripped them of their promotion. Let me stop here because this is blessing me. Because oftentimes I'm talking from a place of reality. We often believe that the promotions that we're going after, the relationships that we're achieving, the homes that we're desiring to buy, the status level we're trying to achieve, we often believe when we don't get it, we see it as a demotion. In this case, Nebuchadnezzar's demotion is God's promotion. Though they don't see it, it is a work to the next level. Y'all, let me say this and make this personal, because we fight over knowing what we've worked hard for. Think about what you've worked hard for time and time again, day in and day out, year in and year out, only to see it crumble and fall apart and think that your work was for naught. And you think God has failed you. So you start saying, God, what have I done? God, what didn't I do? God, what could I have done? And you go back and you replay over your life all of the things that you should have said, all the things you should have done. And God is like, no, you're playing this right on the script. You're playing it to the T. This is what I desire for you. I desire for you to go into the furnace, because you have people who are promoting you, but they really don't know what you're worth. They have no idea. They see you and they believe it's about more money. They believe it's about better status. But the truth be told, God is moving you just from a small marquee to a large billboard. He says, look, they see you, but they don't know me. They see what I'm doing in your life, but they can't see me. So what I want to do is I want them to promote you, but I want them to see you. I want them to see me. And I want them to understand that we are a team. I want them to understand that I'm working through you, that they may know your God. I don't want you to say nothing. I don't want you to talk about nothing. I just want you to be about this. Yeah, I know someone can relate to this, because you get that promotion and you find that your first day you're excited and you walk in and you start to think of all the things you're going to do, all the changes you're going to make. And along with that bonus, you start thinking of the money that you're able to set aside and do all the things you desire to do. And then you find that behind the scenes, there's someone who's not quite feeling you. And they start to methodically take you apart. Day by day, hour by hour, they're nitpicking you. They're throwing things at you. You don't see it, but you feel those darts, and you're telling people something is not right with this person. Something is not right with this relationship. No, that's a figment of your imagination. No, you're just highly sensitive. And it's on the day where you stand firm on a principle, where God says, look, they want you to keep your mouth closed. They want you to just go along with it, but I want you to stand for what is right. Well, God, this might cost me my promotion. This might cost me my elevation. God is like, no, trust me. I want them to know how amazing I am. We see this in this text. I don't know if you've read it, but it's in this text. The Shadrach, Meshach can't reach back and go to Daniel and say, help us out. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego can't go back to their friend and say, hey, you're in a high place. Can you come get us? This man is about to throw us in the fiery furnace. We got a promotion and we're about to lose everything. We see Daniel's nowhere in the picture. That God has set it up to where I want to work on you and not the relationship you have with the one you believe that got you the promotion. We feel obligated to those people who give us access, and we feel like they are now God. And let me just say this. Sometimes we act like we're God when we do a favor for you. Let me give you a job. Let me hire you. And now I want you to turn your back when you see an impropriety. I want you to turn your back when you see me talking wrong. I want you to turn your back when I'm mistreating someone. I want you to turn your back when my integrity is on the line. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego are refusing to submit and surrender what they know God has purposed for them, which even boils down to everything that they eat. We know everybody is at the proverbial potluck lunch and everybody's eating their favorite food, but it's those three. They said, no, we just want a salad. But we have the finest food. We have the finest cuisine. We've ordered out. No, we just want a salad and some water. No, we've ordered filet mignon and lobster, and we've got Dom Perignon. We've got the finest wine. No, we just want a salad and some water. Matter of fact, we don't even want any dressing. At this point, those who are eating the finest and drinking the finest, serving the different God, are now repulsed because now you think you're better than me. It's at this moment, the Bible says that Nebuchadnezzar sees them differently. You refuse to submit. This is when it goes into demotion mode. Start taking the power and authority away from you that you had. It's at this moment that they say, no matter what you do, O king, we will never bow down to what you have set up. In essence, he's saying we won't submit to your rules, your laws, your demands, your precepts. We refuse to submit. Now, y'all think about this, because many of us right now in the 21st century, right now, we are being forced to submit to some things that you and I know that God has said to reject. Amen. All kinds of behaviors, all kinds of attitudes, all kinds of resentments that are absolutely antithetical to God. Yes, sir. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego represents all of us who say we love God. But the message here is that we now must prove how much we love him. You can say you love him, but do you trust him? These men prove their love not by their talk, but by their walk. Even at the point of being bound up and tied up and laid into a burning fiery furnace, they refuse to even say ouch. They refuse to even holler and complain about what they're doing. I can't say the same. That is not my testimony. But that is where God desires for all of us to get. As Jesus would remind us on the cross, though he had the power, he still wouldn't open his mouth and come down off that cross. Yes. Let me finish this and close this. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego come out of the burning fiery furnace. We see it played out. Verse 26, 27. Everybody is enamored and they're amazed, especially the king. He's amazed because he has positioned himself against God because he doesn't know God that way. But after he has seen that those that were persecuted for standing for what was right weren't consumed by the burning fiery furnace, he would become enamored and become speechless Now he has no other thing that he can do except testify a God that he never had a relationship with, simply based on what he saw in them. Not what he heard them say, but what he saw. They said that even if he doesn't save us, we know he is able to do it. We don't take that position because we always believe that God has no other recourse but to save us. And God, if you don't save us, other people will remind you, well, if it was God, why didn't he stop you? Why didn't he stop this? Why didn't he prevent this from happening? If you are so bought into God, then why are you in the situation that you're in right now? Yeah. Well, because I know he's able. Doesn't mean that he has to do it. We just know that he can do it. They prove in this that as Jesus would come into the fiery furnace with them. Let me stop there, because I have said this before. No matter where you are, no matter how you feel, Jesus is always present in your circumstance. He will never leave you alone. He will never forsake you. You may feel like you're alone and you're going through it all alone. Whether you're depressed, oppressed, you are in a state that you cannot identify with, Jesus is there. Yes, sir. Nebuchadnezzar would believe and think, he would believe that he himself would be God, that he could control their own mindset, only to find out that they were unwilling to compromise. Now, y'all, I'm trying to build up to this point because I told y'all that they were promoted based on the word of a friend. But I need you to see, because the very thing that you read in verse 49, that if you yourself will look in verse number 30 of chapter 3, it says, then the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the province. Y'all, let me go back. Verse 49 in chapter 2. It says, Daniel petitioned the king, and he set Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego over the affairs of the province. If you go back to 30, it says in the province. It says in the province, which says that he don't just give them affairs, but now he gives them a promotion. Not just something to do, but now they have something specific. It's not just a work on the outside. It's just not a generalized work. It's not just something to kind of come up with me, but it is now something of your own. Mm-hmm. Y'all, listen, let me make this personal. Our goals and achievements for ourselves are very limited. And we want God to endorse the goals we set. But the goals he sets requires a fiery furnace. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were fine as long as their faith wasn't tested with the king that they would have to serve. The king that didn't know their relationship, that didn't understand the principles in which they stood. And they had to take upon themselves the responsibility of knowing that God himself would elevate them in his season. That it would be permanent and not temporary. Y'all, I'll say this. Many of us, and I will say me, I'm going to say me. Y'all don't mind, I'm just going to say me. I would see my discharge and my termination. I read this scripture. I started shouting around the room because I would spend sleepless nights seeing my discharge and my termination as a demotion instead of seeing it as the fiery furnace. God said that your view is different. Said this was a promotion that you sought, and I gave it to you. But what happens when you seek it, you now have to prove to those around you that you serve the true and living God. It's at this point that God says, now that you have gotten what you desire, now I must turn up the heat so that they may know that I am your God. If I had my ears open, then it would have been said that, you know what? Okay, God, really, I'm just going to prepare my heart because I know that you're going to do some work in me at this point. This is not time for me to kick back and just enjoy my life, but it is now time for me to prepare for what you are going to do by demonstrating your power and love through me. I didn't see it. I read this scripture. I'm shouting about the burning fiery furnace. But when I get to verse 30, I see me. I see me because God is saying, everybody thinks that you've been terminated. They think that you've been exterminated. But the truth be told, you've been resurrected. I know everybody's like, what is he talking about? When you spend sleepless nights because all that you've worked for seemingly is evaporating and going up in smoke, you start to see it all and you start to worship it as it leaves. We don't see it that way. We start to worship our accomplishments, our achievements. And we say, woe is me because it's gone. And God, how could you let what we've achieved go? He said, no, I didn't achieve it. You did. But I wanted to show you that this is you. What you create disappears. But what I create never goes away. We see Nebuchadnezzar is giving him the promotion, but this is God giving him elevation, giving them elevation. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego come out of the fire. I find it interesting that while they're in the fire and Nebuchadnezzar sees them, he's looking at them. The scripture says that he tells them to come here and come out. He tells them, okay, I'm convinced that the God that you serve is greater than anything that I could ever do to you. The God you serve has more than I could ever offer you. And we get bent up because of the things that we work for when God says, I own cattle on 1,000 hills, not 1,000 cattle on a hill, but I own cattle on 1,000 hills. That means it's innumerable. You can't measure it. The cost here. I see this, and I pray that those of you who are listening, that where you are, whether it be in your relationship with your children, your relationship with your parents, whether you're having a struggle in your marriage, whether you are about to get married and you're trying to figure out where you fit and is it going to work. Let me say this to all of you, that until we get to heaven, I think I need to make this clear, that until we get to heaven, every single day is a day of testing and trial. Yeah, somebody asked me, he said, after hearing that my wife and I have been married 32 years, they said, well, what did y'all do? What did you do? Tell us what's the secret to 32 years of marriage. I said the years between 1 and 32. It's that simple. There's no potion. There's no chemistry. There's nothing you can make up. All we know is those years in between, God had to be in between because some of those years, not all of those years, we've had some amazing experiences and still do. But some of those years, y'all know this, that those years can become a burning, fiery furnace. Either you jump out and run for your life, or you stay in it and just say, God, you take control. I feel God right here. There's some of us who want to just run, but it's God that says, no. I know it feels like it's crumbling, but I'm going to stay here with you. Yeah, I know he cheated on you. I know she cheated on you. I know that they took the money and spent it. I know that they locked you out. I know they threw all your clothes out on the lawn. But don't go nowhere. Some of us struggle with that because we know I'm not putting up with that. I don't have to put up with this. I don't have to take this. I know I'm speaking to somebody today where you say you're in a circumstance that you don't have to put up with. Amen. But the Spirit of God is in you saying, no, yes, you do. Yeah. Why is that? Because you're a billboard for me. Yes, our world has been conditioned to celebrate all of our accomplishments, our achievements, and our promotions. And we are conditioned to walk away and shun those who we believe have failed. But that's when God kicks in. When Daniel couldn't do anything for Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, God rolled up his sleeves and began to put on his work outfit to go to work right there in the furnace, where everybody believed that there's no way you're coming out of this. Y'all got this testimony. People thought it was over and done, and they were calling, trying to figure out if it was over. Had you lost it? Did you lose your house? Did you lose your car? Have your kids left you? Did you fall out with your family? And everybody that was calling wasn't calling because they really cared. They just wanted to know if you were going to be worse off than you were. And when they found out that you hadn't moved, they started asking you, what are you waiting for? Matter of fact, I hear it now. Somebody saying, girl, if I was you, I would leave right now. You don't have to put up with that. I hear it. Yeah, you don't have to put up with that. Girl, why are you crazy for putting up with it? Well, let me let you know that that's a trap, because whoever's telling you that is waiting on you to leave so that they can occupy your space. I'll hear God on that. And I don't know who I'm talking to, but I'm telling you now, listen to the voice of God for yourself. Because those that are around you are desiring what you have and trying to figure out how to displace you just so they can move in. But God desires to be glorified through that.